So in this chapter, we're going to be writing a hello world application in LangChain. Yeah, a hello world application in LangChain. And the purpose of this is for you to just see end-to-end how LangChain works, to quickly get familiar with how LangChain works, so that when we start going into prompt templates, models and stuff, you are not too confused as to what the operations of LangChain looks like. You get to see in this chapter how we create a prompt template, how we set up a model, and how we pass it to an output parser, and we'll run the entire chain and get an output. Yeah, we're going to be doing all that in this chapter. Now in this video, we're going to be doing the very first thing that is required, which is getting our API key. Now, why do we need an API key? For our chain, we're going to be setting up our model, and we're going to be setting up one of these two models, either OpenAI or Google Gemini. We're going to be setting up one of these models, and in order to use the model, we need an API key. Yeah, we need an API key. The calls to the LLMs have to be authenticated, so we are required to have an API key to run our code. I'm going to be showing you how to get the API keys for OpenAI and for Google, for the Gemini models that Google provides. But you can also use Anthropic or Mistral, and I'm pretty sure getting their API keys are also quite straightforward. But in this video, let's look at the two major ones, which are OpenAI and Google. Now, to set up, to get your API key rather for OpenAI, you have to come to platform.openai.com. Platform.openai.com. Once you log in, it brings you to this overview page. So the first thing you want to do is click on Dashboard here at the top menu. Click on Dashboard. So let's click that. So yeah, it's loading our dashboard. And to get our API key, we go to the side menu. See a bunch of links here. I will simply click the API keys link. Click the API keys link to take us to the API keys page. And here you will see I've already generated an API key. So if you're coming here for the first time, you won't see anything on this table, but I've generated a key. So this is my key. If you want to generate a new key, you simply go up here and click the green create new key button. You are allowed to enter an optional name for your key. I'll advise you do that so that you can recognize your keys and why you created them. Then let's say my test key. That was the example, right? That was the example in here. My test key, or let's say my hello world key. Yeah, and create that. Now, if you have project set up on your account, you can pick a project, but I only have the default here, so I can just say, yeah, use the default and create a new key. And here I'm going to have a new key created for me. It's generated here, as you can see. Now, make sure you copy this key once. Just copy this key, get it now, because you won't have access to it again. Yeah, OpenAI will not give you access to it again. OpenAI has faced a lot of security issues in the past, and now they're not joking with their keys. So this is the only time you get to see this key. And even if you mistakenly push this key to a GitHub repo, they're going to automatically delete it. Yeah, they have a bot that does that. So once it recognizes any OpenAI key on GitHub, exposed on GitHub, is automatically deleted. So you want to copy this and keep it somewhere secure. I'm just going to stick it somewhere around here on my computer. Yeah, you didn't see that. So I'll just say done. Done. And yeah, now you can't see this key again. Yeah, you can see this key again. I've never used it, so it says last used never. Even if I try to edit it, it's not going to show me the key. I can only edit the name. So that's all. Now, the thing about this key we just created is that even though we have created it and it's ours to use, it is not going to work. Yeah, the key is not going to work. The key is not going to work because for you to access the OpenAI APIs, you need to pay. Yeah, you need to purchase some credits. You need to purchase some credits. There used to be a time they used to have these, I think $18 they give you when it first came out. $18, you get to use that. Then you start paying later. But now it seems that you just have to pay. So I don't know if they still offer that free tier. This is a new account. So now you just have to pay. So for you to pay, purchase some credits, you have to locate your settings page, which you can get by clicking this cog up here. So you locate your settings page. And now the settings page, go to the side menu and click on billing. Click on billing. I currently have $9.99. As my credit balance. But before you can even add the credit balance, you first have to add the payment method. So two ways to add that. You can add it from this page. There's literally a payment methods link here. So you can click this to add it. And there's also a tab up here that you can click and add your payment method. So you can add a payment method. Once you have it added, then you come back to this page, this overview page, and you click add to credit balance. Yeah, add to credit balance. So if you click this, it's going to bring up this dialog for you to add credit balance. You can add $100, you can add $1,000 depending on what you want. Even though they say enter an amount between 5 and 90, so between 5 and 90, so I don't think I add $1,000 and stuff like that. So but you can add that. You can select your payment method, whichever one you want to use, and once you're done, you can click continue. And before you know it, it's a very smooth process. As long as your credit card works, it will just go through. As long as there's money in your credit card, definitely. And you'll be able to add credits to your account. And like I said, now I have $9.99, so I can still play around with the API a lot. So this is all you need to do for OpenAI. This is all you need to do for OpenAI. And because of this barrier, this pricing barrier, we're not going to be using OpenAI. Well, we're not going to be starting with it. I think based on the way I planned this course, we're going to be using OpenAI at the RAG section, just for us to use OpenAI, But for most of the course, we're going to be using Google. Because with Google, you have a very generous free tier. Yeah, with Google, you have a very generous free tier. So I think we can find that at Gemini. Say Gemini pricing. Yeah, this is a pricing page for Gemini. Okay, yeah. So this is Gemini pricing page, and as you can see, we have the Gemini 1.5 Flash, free of charge. You get to make 15 requests per minute, 1 million tokens per minute. That's the rate limit, and you can make 1,500 requests per day for free. Yeah, 1,500 requests per day, as long as each of those requests don't contain more than 1 million tokens per minute. So we have the Flash B. I think this just came out. That's one I called mini. It's not mini. It's 8B. Gemini 1.5 Flash 8B. So anyone you choose, even if you choose Gemini 1.5 Pro, which is their most powerful model right now, with the 1 or 2 million token context window, is still very, very generously free. Let's go to 1.5 Pro. So with 1.5 Pro, you get to make 2 requests per minute. Kind of tight, but it's their most powerful model. The request should not contain more than 32,000 tokens per minute, and you can make 50 requests per day. Still fine, still fair, but I use 1.5 Flash most of the time because I know I'm not going to exhaust 1,500 requests in a single day for demos. So yeah, we're going to be using Gemini so that if you don't have OpenAI credits, this is not going to be like a blocker for you. But if you have OpenAI set up already, if you have credits on it, or you just want to use OpenAI, it's fine. Any example we do, there's an OpenAI equivalent. What is going to change there is going to be small. You don't have to worry about that. I also always try my best to mention it. But I can tell you right now, apart from just calling your model class and giving it the specific model that you want it to use, that's the only difference. That's the only difference you're going to experience between using Gemini and using OpenAI. That's the only difference. So not every other thing in the API is the same from there on. So here in Google AI Studio, which is found at aistudio.google.com, how do we get our key? It's also straightforward. You simply just go to Get API Key, click that. This will take you to the API Keys page. And from here, if we scroll down, you see a Create API Key button. Yeah, Create API Key. This is the button we're going to click to get us our API key. I already have one API key here that I'll be using for my demos. But if you want to create a new API key, you simply come here, click Create API Key. Yeah, this dialog pops up, and you need to have a GCP project. Make sure you have a GCP project. Yeah, so because you need to create this key inside a GCP project. So I have my GCP projects here. I can pick any of them. Let's say this transcribing project, video transcribing LIL. So and once I click Create API Key in existing project, it's going to create the API key. Yeah, it's going to immediately create the API key. But because I already have one, I don't need to do this. Also, I think if you're creating your very first key, even if you have a GCP project, it will suggest to you that it can create one for you. And if you're okay with that, it will just automatically generate one GCP project for you without you having to go to the GCP platform. But if you don't have that, you have to go to GCP first, that's Google Cloud Platform, create a new project, then that project will be automatically available here for you to create an API key to use the Gemini models. So that's that. Like I said, we're going to be using the API key for Gemini because we don't need to pay for that. But like I said, in our RAG chapter, that's the chapter on retrieval augmented generation, I'm going to switch to OpenAI so that you can see that, yeah, everything is seamless with either models. So now that we have our API key, in the next video, we're going to scaffold our project. We're going to scaffold a new LangChain.js project.